Awesome.
Uh, so I'm gonna stream my end as well. So I'm gonna do this here. So uh, I'll create the lobby like private, and
Mhm.
then you can search for it. I think that's the easiest way of doing it. So
Okay.
I'm gonna put a
Cool.
passcode on it. So it's gonna be 1111.
Okay, cool.
It's gonna be created there. See if you can see if you can see my name in the search.
Yeah, let's see. So I just go to passcode settings.
Yeah, turn that on
And,
so you only see locked lobbies,
okay.
and then you should be able to see my name. That's usually like the fastest way of finding it.
Okay. Cool. Let me see if I find you here.
And how I go about doing this as well. So like as we play, I give a few like pointers here and there, right? And
Hmm.
when so I don't we'll see how much time we have. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes it's more
Yeah.
beneficial to do maybe like up to first to five because I get enough information to talk about it, and I go back to my training mode and I stream and I kind of elaborate on what I was talking about. Like what you could do better and with the character especially that we're playing. I can demonstrate how you can do things a little bit better in certain aspects. So,
Okay.
is that okay with you? If I feel like first to five was enough, we just
Yeah.
kind of cut it there and then go dig deep right into it straight
Hell
away.
yeah.
Grand.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a good way to go. Just also so I'm not just like overwhelmed, while I'm playing too, and you can get a good sense of, um, what my play style is like and all that. So definitely.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Like I think
cool.
it's like a good efficient use of the time anyway, for sure. Like,
Yeah, I agree. So I'm looking for it's Fergus 2K8, right? On the
Fergus
list.
2K9, yeah, 99,
2K9. Okay,
yeah.
got it. Where do those 2Ks come from? I've always wondered.
It's
Is it
just when I started playing fighting games like properly, like online and being involved in a community. So it's just a memorization, I
cool.
guess. Just a mark of a beginning, or
A
I
long.
don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't really put
That makes sense.
much thought into it, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, so area I've set to any language. I
Yeah,
might as well just put any.
yeah, yeah, and then look for like passcode lobbies.
Yep, I set that to on.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let me put another one.
Sometimes the list is so big you might have to refresh a few times to find me.
Okay, 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 got you. Yeah, man, that sounds really good. While I look through this list, just kind of quick background. I just celebrated hitting Garyu today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the one big move I have to say that really came in clutch was I learned from you one of your YouTube videos is 1-2 sidestep 4, like where you get the extra plus frames.
Mm-hmm.
And I always my only option was pretty much always throw. I just like did the up forward 1+2,
Mm-hmm.
and gosh, in the red ranks people just get caught by that all the time. And so, yeah, I have watched your videos, and the game just kind of comes natural. I think, for me, I haven't had too much issue, but the Shin Ryu up to purple, anytime I face anybody, they tend to hand my ass right back to me. So I'm excited to
Yeah,
just
yeah.
learn some more about training and how to get better.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, I appreciate the words there. Yeah, I can show you like as well some like kind of like flow charts you can do with June to, kind of just stop mashing, just be like,
Yeah.
like total
Good.
like checks like in certain situations that if they do something this will work and so on. I think are you able to find me or because I this lobby system in this game is such a mess. It
It's
really is.
so weird. Yeah, I'm looking and I just kind of I've got everything open and I'm just like refreshing once I get through the list.
R-
But I don't see you.
Right,
Weird enough.
right. What we can do,
Uh,
maybe we can go into the lounge. That's probably better.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
Sounds good. Sounds good.
yeah, yeah. This game is just like just why couldn't they
It's
keep
so
it?
weird.
Yeah, why couldn't they keep it simple? Just like invite a name into the lobby. That's it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I played with some coworkers. That's really what kicked it off is like I'm just competitive.
mm,
And I had Well, I have some friends that play, but I also have coworkers that play. And you let me know which
Yeah, yeah. So
region.
so I'm in Africa too.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool,
it's just empty like here.
awesome. Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
so I'm at the cabs in Africa too anyway.
gotcha. All right. Um, let me see if I can find you. I just touched down myself.
Cool, 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 cool.
But anyways, we had to sort of figure out like how the hell do we play with each other when my friends and my coworkers went to go play. You're just like, what do we like? I guess do we have to play in here? And then we went in the lounge, and I guess
Yes,
you
I
then
know.
you interact and you can like play. It's kind of strange. Okay, there you are. I found you. Cool. I'll sit right down here.
Yeah, it's good to have like people, especially offline around you, to be able to play with, and especially if they're like interested in the game enough to be able to like stick around and give you that kind of presence, that like a target or so it's always good to have like people around you like that for sure. Because I have people like here in
Yeah.
Ireland, and like some of them are like slow, like really getting better, so like that makes me want to get better than them. So it's
They're
kind of
better than you. No way. I don't believe it.
there's one or two that are like really catching up. Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Y-
Okay.
yeah, this game's pretty hard. but
It is very hard. That's the crazy thing is somebody that doesn't have as much experience, like can just have a strategy that you don't always have a direct answer to. At least that's what I've run
y-
into is I fight people that shouldn't be better than me. But they just I don't know. They just have a strategy. I'm just like I don't know what to do here. So
yeah, it's just but learning the game. It's a new game after all. At the end of the day. Let's see. Nice.
ah ooh ooh
Yeah.
wow
Yeah, I'll show you.
clean.
Yeah, I'll show you a bunch of things for sure. Like,
Yeah, the wall is an area that I'm just like I don't know what to do here.
yeah, no, wall game is the whole thing with this character. We can definitely go over that for sure. Like,
Yeah.
nice, nice, dude.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, bit of a joke there.
nice. Yep. Wow. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
the get ups I know with June is like the Oki game is like kicking them in the head is such a good
yeah.
strategy.
I actually didn't even know that worked. To be honest with you.
I try to throw out the down too, because it seems safe.
uh, then to this here. Yeah, it is safe
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah.
Nice, nice, nice.
Oh, the homing throws,
I know
crazy.
it's a big thing in this game for sure.
Okay, I gotta stop that. The higher
Yeah,
ranks
it
have
is.
been catching me on that bad.
It is.
I've noticed.
It is pretty risky. Yeah. Oh, nice, nice, nice.
Ooh,
Nice.
okay.
Yeah, it's very.
Can cans. I've been trying to incorporate the can cans more.
Oh, absolutely. It's like one of the best moves that she has. Like straight up.
Yeah,
You just gotta know like when to use it.
just
Really,
dodge so much.
it
Wow,
does.
like that was a good use of this the sidestep four. I don't do that very much.
Yeah. No, sidestep four like I'll show you why that's good in a while as well.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Ooh. Oh yeah, and that wall rising.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
the
FC.
gold slap, the gold
Yeah.
chain slap.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. FC Denford one is. It's pretty good. It's pretty good because
Yeah.
you could block something so small and it would just punish you from like full screen into the wall, and then you get a conversion of it. It's pretty nasty. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm picking up some little things from the gameplay. Obviously the
Okay.
connection is not ideal, so maybe like there's some things that couldn't be demonstrated properly, but I'm definitely seeing some little things I can talk about for sure anyway.
Okay. Cool.
Mm, mm, mm.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
connection. Rollback
yes,
is it's pretty impressive for how far away we are. I'm East Coast, so that helps a little bit, but um,
yeah. I think East Coast to Ireland would still be kind of rough, no matter the distance.
yeah. Ooh, yeah. I don't use just forward two enough because it's so punishable. Like I get scared, but when the time is right, like I'm seeing you really
Yeah,
get
like
some great
you,
use.
you want to do in situations where it's gonna hit. For example, like your opponent whips a move,
Yeah.
and it's gonna work like that. So that's what we call it, kind of like a whip punish.
Oh
Yeah,
God, such a bad habit. Because I have
yeah,
friends that are so aggressive offline that like that gets them, just running in and they try to heat smash or something.
exactly. Yeah, no, it's all about like it's all about adapting the play styles. At the end of the day, like if someone's more patient,
Yeah.
then you know how to change up. For example, nice, 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 nice. Yeah.
Oh.
Like doing strings, like knowledge checking people, like it can work. It's absolutely
Hmm.
like a valid strategy to go for. Just that when the other guy is a bit more aware of the matchup, it's just important to like change up. Like I said, like I have a few
Totally.
things. Yeah, I have a few things in my mind to talk about for sure. Like when I stream train in mode of my end, like I'll be able to like elaborate like a lot more on it. But just know like I am like kind of processing things right now to like
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
to go.
Yeah. Strings is definitely the one that like it kind of got me to where I'm at,
Mm-hmm.
but I hit a big wall when I had started to fight people that had awareness of all the Azumo options, and they kind of I I viewed the Azumo like sweep plus launch like
Mm-hmm.
as kind of the only option because it works so much. And then you eventually get to a point where people just go, "Oh, you did that once while I'm like down blocking and getting that read, and then launching you." So that's definitely mixing it up like that is more. Uh,
Yeah,
I've not
yeah,
been doing it as much.
yeah. I getcha. Like when I said like when we go back to my training room, I can show you some like more consistent like offense that you can go for.
Okay.
That will work like at all levels. Oh, nice. Mhm, 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 mhm.
Oh wow, good.
Yeah, she gets. Yeah, that's a very easy mode follow up that she gets off that. It's pretty strong. It's pretty strong.
Yeah, Wall Rising 3.
That's a yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, it is very good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I know June. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Her punishment is like super strong. Like when you know
So
things.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Whoosh. I'm guessing
Oh,
your name is like a June reference, is it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I fell in love with her, man. She's so fun. Her range is so ridiculous, and I just like keeping people guessing,
Y-
um,
Yeah, no,
and just mixing stuff up. So much fun.
she's very good doing that, just locking them down. They have to constantly be at plus frames, so
Yep.
yeah, no, she's definitely very, very good doing that. We can play
Yeah.
like one more set and then I'll go to training mode and then we can talk about stuff. Is that okay?
That's awesome. Yeah, let's do it. Ah, ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, I actually dropped it. It could have gone on a little bit more.
Really? Okay. I love when her combos are like just the tips of her toes, basically.
Yeah,
Like it's crazy. Ooh, wow,
yeah. This is
so
what.
good.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I think we can make this the last match and then we'll get disgusting.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do, 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 do,
Sounds
do.
good. You got enough data?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That is so amazing that that hits that heat engager.
Oh, there. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Do do do. Okay, cool, cool. So yeah,
Okay.
I'll stream
Okay.
and sorry on Discord, obviously on Discord, and obviously if you have any questions, just ask away, So let me go back to my training mode. So I'm gonna go back here. So what I'll show you is some more like offense you can do with the character. That like will work at all sorts of levels. So let me go up
Okay.
practice mode
Cool.
here. And like I said, if you have questions, something that you're particularly struggling with, like in specific to June, you can ask away, no problem. So
Okay.
so
Cool.
so I feel like the first thing you want to do is just try and work the pressure a bit. So obviously like doing, 1 2 2 the string into the Izumo. Like obviously doing
Hmm.
doing stuff like that can work, but you want it more of a like a real kind of like consistent offense. So by that I mean, so first of all, poking, right? So the whole idea of poking is to kind of frustrate your opponent into making a mistake, right? So that's you're using like very low risk kind of moves to force a reaction at your opponent. So it kind of it kind of is what it sounds like. You're poking the opponents, like you're getting a reaction out of them, and then that's how you get bigger openings, right, with the character. So with June, that would be stuff like just doing her job by itself, for example. So let
Hmm.
me. So just doing the job by itself, it's good because can I ask what's your like knowledge of frame data? Like, do you know the concept of frame data?
Yeah, yeah. I'm super familiar. I've done research on it, so I know she's got the 10 frame jab. Or
Hmm.
every character has like the 10 frame jab, and then I know a couple of her moves. Like I know the up forward one, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of gold slap is. I know she's got a few of those 10 frame
She does, yeah.
punishes.
She
Yeah.
does, yeah. But yeah, I was just wondering if like before I go into numbers kind of thing, just making sure that you
Yeah,
you,
go right
you
ahead.
know what it
Yep.
means, like. But
Yep, you're good.
grand, yeah. So her single job by itself, or every characters in general, single job by themselves is super good because they're 10 frame. So they're usually the fastest move the character has across the board. They are +1. So like on paper you could technically like loop this into itself. So like they have to do something about this, right? So they could
Hmm.
either duck, they could either sidestep, or they could either try to high crush under the jab. So like you're making them do something, right? So
Right.
you can kind of get that information from the opponent a little bit. You can be like, oh, so my opponent is the kind of opponent that likes to mash. So maybe you could do something like this into itself again, or you could do this into standing four, because standing four is 12 frame, so it's pretty fast, right?
Mm.
So if you feel like they're
Yeah.
gonna like try and mash their way out of your pressure, this is a pretty solid option to go for, because you get a really beefy follow up with this afterwards. S-
Ooh. Okay. And
y-
that's
That's
what's
a
the
3+4.
oh, okay, 3+4. Got it.
So
And
you
you
get
just do 3+4 twice, right?
no, that's just one input. That's just one input. So just three
Oh,
plus four. It
okay.
the beam is automatic.
Okay. Cool. I didn't know that went into that.
Yeah, and your main pokes with the character is generally going to be tempered one. So like you have your job to just like quickly get your pressure going, right? And then you
Hmm.
have like little smaller mids. So tempered one is typically every character's like main mid poke, right? With
Yeah,
June, her tempered one is particularly kind of strong because she has both a high extension and a mid extension, and they are both natural combo and hits, so they combo into themselves, kind of thing like this.
I
So,
see.
so Danforth one is another tool that you can use to like kind of gauge the opponent's reactions a little bit. So maybe you could do Danforth one, just one on block, and see how does the opponents react. So, like, do they try to mash their way out? Okay, then you can process that information and then be like, okay, I know my opponent's gonna try and press after Danforth one on block, so let me finish my extensions. And her extensions on counter hit. So if you go for the high, you get upward one guaranteed, which is pretty beefy. If you go
Ooh,
if you go for the mid option, you get some extra damage and plus frames to work with. So the whole idea is you want to make them freeze up because of the extensions, and because she has a high extension and she has a mid extension, not only do they have to think about if you're going to continue after turn first one, but they also have to think about if you're going to go for the mid or the high version of it. So she's quite good in that way.
yeah.
So that's gonna be like your main to go to mid poke in a lot of scenarios, just Danforth one. And
What with the extension, what do you like for somebody that's new and kind of experimenting with it? Like what determines whether you go for the high or the mid extension if you haven't really gotten that much data yet? Like you just notice they start to mash. Do you go mid just because like you know if they duck or something, like you also hit them, or do you have kind of a way
yeah,
you think about it?
yeah. So it's kind of like option coverage at the end of the day, right? So like if you go for Danforth one, the mid follow up, like it's
Hmm.
less risky than getting your height ducked, right? So
Yeah.
you could go for that, but then at the same time, they could just be blocking it all out, right? So they might not duck the high. You just kind of have to like say like you just do one tempered one, right?
Yeah.
If you see them duck, you know that they were looking out for the high. If you just see them,
Ah.
yeah, if you just do one and see if they tempted to duck or not, then you can kind of process. Oh, this guy knows the matchup a bit. He was ready to duck the high, so that's you just have to like pay attention to the opponents, like pay attention how they react to things, pay attention to how they deal with certain situations, because a lot of people play this game only just looking at their own character, only like just going through their own moves, right? But
Hmm.
Tekken at the end, or any fighting game, at the end of the day, is about beating your opponent. So you have to counter what they do as a character, but also as a player. So you just have to like pay. I know it sounds easier than what I'm saying, but like you just have to like really look at your opponents, like see what they are doing after you do certain things. So that's why
Yeah.
that's the whole idea of like using single jab, using Dunfort one, because they are very, very low risk things. Like your opponent has to be very ready to force these things to miss and we punish them, right? So
Right. Yeah.
so yeah, so that's just how you kind of get information for your opponents. Does that make sense to you? Like, just
Yeah. Yeah.
do some.
basically before you commit to extensions, like it sounds like just make sure you have some insight into how they're going to respond before
Exact.
you. And
Yeah.
and then it can be random. It sounds like too. I'm sure you just kind of go, hey, this is the first extension, just throwing out a mid because whatever. Like I'm just collecting data, and it's all pretty much safe. I imagine the extensions, or are the extensions punishable?
So the mid extension is unsafe. So typically in this game, if a string has a high and a mid, usually the high is safe but duckable, and the mid is unsafe but
Uh,
it's a mid, right? So
yeah.
that's
Okay.
like a general rule, for a lot of tech constraints. Obviously, there's some examples, but or some exceptions, but generally that's the rule across tech constraints. Like there's a safe high that you can duck, and then there's this unsafe mid that they can punish.
Got
So,
it. Okay.
yes, so the mind game is like, oh, so she did Dunford one. Do I, duck the high, or she might do the mids. I don't want to just eat the mid, so maybe let me just stand block. But if they're stand blocking,
Mm,
then and you do the high, they're letting you get away with it, kind of thing.
right.
So yeah,
Okay.
so that's just like string mind game, like 101, right? But
Okay.
yeah,
I didn't
so
know that. That's cool. Okay.
yeah, it's just good to do because like the extensions are pretty rewarding on counter hit. So the high you get the whole upward one. On counter with the mid you get some like really extra damage and plus frames. So it's just sometimes it's nice to throw edge, and if you're not confident if they're gonna duck or not, then you can do the mids because that's way less risky than getting your high ducked and punished. But at the lower ranks, I wouldn't worry too much about people dealing with this properly. So
Hmm.
you can kind of like go a bit ham with the high a little bit more, and just keep
Okay.
you know. So and
And
her
you said it forward one is guaranteed if you see that the
yeah
um it's like hit confirm basically, so you can like do the up forward one command after the high lands.
yeah. So if you see this is a normal hit, right? So that was a
Yeah.
normal hit. On counter hit. The screen shakes, so that's like your visual cue.
Ah,
Yeah, so that's
okay.
that's like your visual cue. Oh, that was a counter hit. Like it's a pretty big visual cue. So if you see that,
Hmm.
like if you see the screen just explode like this, then you know, oh, that
Right.
I just got counter hit. So
Okay.
let me just do upward one continuation, and if they're against the wall, this especially at the wall becomes a lot scarier because if they
Hmm.
let me switch around. If they press at the wall, this is gonna be like a lot more damage because you get full
Ooh.
wall conversion, right? So that
Ooh.
yeah, that was pretty chunky right there. So
Yeah.
it becomes scarier to deal with the wall. So just another mid poke that I recommend using is back two. Now back two, it has a lot going on with it, in terms of extensions. The main thing you want to use back two is just because the speed is quite fast, the range is quite good, and it tracks to her weak side. So if they're like flowchart stepping to her weak side, you can use back two to keep them in check. And you
Okay.
have extensions out of it. You have back two two, which is mid, and it's completely safe, which is really rare for a mid string to have. Sorry, a mid string to have in this game. Like normally they're unsafe on block, but June is a bit
Hmm.
privileged. That her mid string is safe, so they're not going to be able to punish you. Uh,
Wow. Okay.
and if you want to like incentivize them to duck into this, you can be cheeky and go for back 2-1. Which is a high,
Mm.
which is a high, right? So
Hmm.
now remember I talked about strings rules like mid is usually unsafe, the high is usually duckable. And I said there were some exceptions. Like
Hmm.
June is one of those exceptions. Like her mid string is just safe, like straight up.
Wow.
Yeah, like
It's blowing my mind that I like never use that string. I so rarely use that. Wow, I didn't know that had those properties. I'm like in training right now. Cool. Okay. I'll
yeah,
definitely practice that more.
yeah. It just has slightly more range than her Danforth one, and
Mm.
it's just that if you know they're stepping a lot to the weak side, this is when you want to use back two. Another, but another good thing about it, so if you do back 2-1, you have like a lot of options you can do up back 2-1. So back 2-2 is just there to stop them from ducking this. So let's say you get this on block, so back 2-1 on block, right? You have
Hmm.
a couple of things you can do. You can be like a little cheesy and knowledge checky. So you can do back 2-1-2, which
Okay.
is so the last hit is a counter launcher. So if they press after back 2-1 on block, you can go for this as a counter launcher. So if you think they're going to be like disrespectful and try to take their turn after this, you can continue this. And the,
Okay. Wow. Cool.
and just a good thing about this whole string is that all the hits are delayable. Like you can delay each hit like by a lot. So you can catch them pressing buttons by doing something like this. You know what I mean? So like
Ooh,
you're
yeah.
you're putting
Okay.
in enough gap. You're delaying it enough to like introduce gaps in the string, and then you can catch them off guards. And obviously this becomes a lot more valuable at the wall because the the mid extension is also wall splat like this.
Ah, okay.
Right, right. So that's why I like heavily. So you can use back to one to be cheeky, and if you know they're like freezing up, you can do like back to one hold forward to go into this stance here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go for, get it to one, which is the low. You can go for this,
Oh, right.
which is the mid.
That's Genjutsu, right? Uh, is that what that stance is when you hold forward?
Yeah. So when you hold back here, you're in Miara stance like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So back to one hold back goes into this stance, and
Yeah.
if you tap forward while in the stance, you go into this one. So you just basically hold
Gotcha.
back and then so you basically holding back and then forward, and this is like her mix up stance. So you can do one for the low, you can do you can do the 3 1+2 for the mid option, which is safe as well. So
Wow.
and
Okay.
if you're in heat, she has the heat smash version, which is chunkier. So
Ooh.
yeah, so that's just like she has a lot she has a lot she can do off back to one. You have like
Right.
all these extensions as well. You have a high extension, you have a safe mid extension. It does cost a bit of life, but it's a pretty strong ender. You have this, but I wouldn't use that. There's no reason to use this over this.
The
So
launcher. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
there's no reason to use the other one. But so yeah, you can do a lot with back two. But just I'm just basically summarizing. So like back two is just a really good poke, which goes into a lot with this character. Um,
Yeah.
for your low pokes, you're gonna want to be doing Denmark 3. That's like her main low poke.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's good because you can be aggressive with this low. That's the whole theme of the game at the end of the day, right? You can be quite aggressive. So if you think they're gonna mash after this, because like maybe they're getting annoyed. Remember, going back to the whole poking thing, you're getting the reaction out of the opponent, you're forcing something out of them, right? So that back three, they might be like, oh my god, stop. This is annoying. A good option you can go for is standing for, because you're +2 and you do a 12 frame move afterwards, it will
Oh,
it will typically beat everything, right? So you do this, and then you do standing for afterwards. If they were mashing, you get this follow up, which is like very rewarding. So they might think
yeah.
twice before mashing. You can go for stuff like Stanford One afterwards. Just keep a simple like compact game going on here. And remember, you have the whole idea with the extensions afterwards that they might continue to freeze up afterwards because of the
Mm.
extensions. So that's the whole thing with
Right.
the character. Like she pokes at you, she makes you freeze up, she makes you look out for a lot of things, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
that's that's a
Yeah.
yeah, that's a thing with the character. So that and more low pokes you can go for. So Denmark 3 is gonna be like your main poke. So this one's like more for being aggressive with, plus frames, interface, poke away. Another one you can do is Den 4. Now you might think like why would I use one over the other, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like I said, Denmark 3 is more aggressive and Den 4 is more for like so Dan 4 is faster than Denmark 3. It's like 3 frame faster, so that can matter. Um, it has better range, so like you can see Denmark 3 kind of whips like here, but Dan 4 will reach. for example. So it has more range. It's faster.
Yeah.
There's a little bit pushback on hit, so it's good if you want to like just do this and kind of back off afterwards. Go back into like kind of like a neutral sense with the character. And the other good thing about Denfor is it has an extension with this, which you've noticed, right? So
Yep. Hmm.
if they try to punish Denfor by itself, they might eat the extension, right? So let me switch to the other. Let me switch him to a June as well.
Yeah, I catch a lot of people on the extension when I do the
Yeah,
second hit for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So let me. So let's say I try to punish Denfor, because like every character can typically do well signing for, but the follow up will hit me like this, right? So that's me. That's me trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me trying to punish Denfor. So obviously the mix up is
Oh.
so sometimes you do down four by itself. I get the punish here because she didn't do the extension, right? But
Hmm.
but then she does down 4/4, which punishes me. Now the mind game is like, okay, I'm waiting for the extension. Oh, she just got away with down four. I didn't punish down four because I'm waiting for the extension, right? But
Right.
but now she's getting away with like kinda safe down fours because of the mental frame advantage. So
I
that
see.
so like you don't always want to finish this like because they might look for the high, right? So don't always
Yeah.
finish it, but like sparingly keep them on their toes with the extension. And but if you want like pressure, you want like real like plus frame pressure, then Mach 3 is what you want to use. So
Okay.
and
I was
also
going to ask
yes,
on that specifically because I'm understanding the extensions have the risk because obviously they you could get punished for different actions. I'm curious on the down back three, like so something I've been doing is 1-3, because it just I don't know, you're kind of staring at them so they're not maybe seeing the low as much, and so I've been getting those off. um, but I'm curious if I should be also throwing in the four, like, and kind of shuffle it, like mix it in there, or should you just always, when you kind of hit them with the down back three, if they're pressing, I guess always hit the four. Like, when should I not hit press four after I hit them with the scorpion kick, that little down back three move?
like when she not go for standing for
Yeah, like, or do you just do it pretty much every time because it's like it beats everything with 10 frames after the with the frame advantage?
yeah.
Do you just always go for it, or?
Well, if the opponent isn't pressing anymore, then you would want to stop doing it, right? Because like let's say like you've conditioned them enough to respect the sequence, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
then they might retaliate by blocking, they're just blocking afterwards, or they might try to step around the standing for because let,
Oh,
let me demonstrate here. So Denmark 3 into 4, right? So I'll show you why this works. So let me just get rid of that action there. So like, okay, I'm gonna press here. No, so it's a frame trap, right?
uh,
Even
yeah,
with trades with 10 frames, so it is essentially like a frame trap. But you would want to stop doing this. Now, obviously, they can high crush under, so just be like Dick Job or something like that. Will high crush under, so you have to be careful of doing that. So if you
uh,
think, so if you think they're gonna do something that like high crushes, so I don't know what else June can do to high crush. Yeah, I think it's just Dick Job. Um, so if you think they're gonna do something that high crushes, or if you think they're just gonna block, because you don't be just doing this all the time because you lose your turn on block, right? So
mm-hmm.
so if you condition them to block, then ideally you want to stop doing this. Like you want to be doing other stuff. So let's say another Denmark 3, for example, or you could go for grabs. You like your grabs, so you could go for your grabs as well. So you're up 1+2 and you're down for 2+3. You can go for those if they're like freezing up and respecting you. You
Got
could
it.
you could be cheeky and go for side step 4 afterwards. Just to get more plus
Ooh,
frames.
yeah, okay.
Just to slap on more plus frames. You
Right.
Yeah, or you could go for like down for 1. It's not as rewarding as this on counter hit,
Mhm.
but you have the whole like mind game of the down for 1 going on. they might freeze up because of the extensions of this, and
Right.
you're just kind of establishing a solid like offense here that they have to be continuously looking out for. Yeah, so that's kind of in a nutshell. Her
Makes
load.
sense.
Yeah, does that kind of make sense to you a little bit?
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think I'm at times I struggle. This is super helpful to explain it that way because I struggle with like, if things are relatively safe, what I'm learning is like nothing's really ever safe. There's always counterplay. So the reason you don't want to just like do the same things over and over, obviously, are because there's going to be some counter to it. There's always going to be something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so and also the reward I'm hearing from the standing four is so great that you don't want to get them in the habit of like, okay, that's just a string that has like this third hit on it, or second hit on it, because then they're just going to block it, and you're never going to get that big reward of the counter hit, catch them pressing, get a big attack with the beam, and so you kind of want to trick them into doing something so that you do get that counter hit. And if you just repeated it over and over, you would they just block it. So that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah. So like again, just kind of go back to the whole idea of poking. Like you're forcing a reaction item. So like this would be like poking. So if Denmark 3 would be poking them, like you're frustrating them. You want to make them overextend. Like they might not
Hmm.
overextend the first time. I'd be thinking, oh, I'll just block this out. But you want to encourage them to challenge her by like introducing things into pressure. Let's say they block they eat the first Stanford one on Denmark 3 and hit, right? And then
Hmm.
they're gonna freeze up. So maybe you could do slice F4 just to like apply more plus frames, like more pressure, because this is a mid and it's +6. So you could go for something like that.
I
Uh
see.
yeah, and then just to kind of talk about the metagame of slice F4, because slice F4 is gonna be like one of our main pressure tools, right? So
Hmm.
the meta behind Sesa4 would be if they press buttons here, like any button at all, you would do can-cans afterwards. You would do down 3+4. So Sesa4 and
Okay.
block, and then can-cans afterwards. Why this is good is because you are +6 on block. So if you do down 3+4 afterwards, it's a total frame trap.
Yeah.
And and the good thing about can-cans in this game, you probably saw how annoying heat bursts are in this game, right? Like
Hmm.
they're really hard to stop. They're really like kind of free to do. But
Yeah.
if you do, for example, like if you have any plus frames, so let's say slice that form block and then can-cans. So I'm gonna try and heat burst here. I can't, right? Now
Oh.
this works. Oh, that was too far there. Normally it should work like this, for example, right? So
Yeah.
it's because lows beats armor in this game. So heat bursts are like armored. They are power crushes. So if you have plus frames and you think they're gonna mash on heat burst, you would do can-cans to get a full combo off it, right? So
Yeah. Okay. The first one's a low.
yeah,
I
the
didn't even think about that, but that would break. That would crush, or it's not going to crush a power crush, but counter a power crush.
yeah,
Um,
like lows beats armor in this game, so that's why can-cans also works on those moves. So yeah, so if you get like plus frames, you can like go for can-cans, and it'll beat buttons, it'll beat armor, it'll beat heat bursts and all these things. So you
what? Okay. I did
yeah,
not know that.
yeah, so I feel it's a very good like flowchart to go for, because it's a good default option to go for. And
Hmm.
if you think they will respect you because you conditioned them to stop pressing buttons, that's when you can sneak in your Denmark 3. It's when you can sneak in your grabs, you love those. You can sneak in your Dem your you like your lows and grabs essentially, right? So if you
Yeah.
think they're gonna be respectful, you can go for stuff like that. If you think they're gonna be like ducking or whatever, you can go for stuff like Danford One, to keep them in check, keep them honest. Um, if you hit them at Danford One, maybe you can go for another Danford One, you can go for Denmark 3, or if you think they're gonna press after Danford One on hit, can. Like just think can is going to be like your main frame trap at plus frames,
Yeah.
because it's 14 frames, so it's really really fast for what it does. Uh, and it beats
Yeah.
armor. So they might try to panic heat burst your pressure, but this will beat it. And yeah, so you can kind of number crunch in the lab a little bit. So if you see something that's +5 or more, you can can like for as a guaranteed frame
Okay.
trap attempt, right? So that could be something like Danforth 1 on hit. You can see this is +8, so you can afterwards. What else is plus? Danforth 1 2 is +6 on hits, so you can
Mm.
afterwards. If they try to mash or armor, they will just lose. What else? 4 1 +2 on block is +6, so you can also can here. What else? What else? What else? While standing 2 is +5 on hit, so you can also can here.
Mm.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so you can kind of number crunch a bit, like back to 2, it's +3, so you're not going to be. I mean, you can. It's just not going to beat everything, but it'll beat most things. Do you know what I mean? If you're like plus
Yeah.
three, if you're +3 into cans, it'll beat most things. Not everything, but most things. But if you're a
I've
+5,
been.
yeah. But if you're +5 or more, after especially after Sisa form block, this is going to be like the main thing you'll do from. You can keep them in check with that. So
Definitely.
yeah, so just try
Okay. That's
like
way better than a grab too, because you get a whole combo off that. So I didn't always know exactly what um to how to beat Power Crush because I thought like, oh, if I do a string or something or try to
mm,
like, there's not really much you can do. And I noticed some people were power crushing or um, even in some cases like doing the duck, which is a counter to the grab. But yeah, Kinkins has a low in the string. I definitely see how that's optimal.
yeah,
Kind of way to
exactly. So
throw that out.
it's just one of
Yeah.
those like technicalities kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like when people think of lows, they mean just like straight up, like actual low moves like this, right? But Can
Hmm.
starts with a low, so it does apply to this move as well, and it's an extremely strong example of something that works against power crushes like that. Because
Yeah.
it's a 14 frame counter launcher, so like in general, this move is just like one of the best moves in the game overall. Like I played both Asuka and June, so I have this move with both characters, and then I can't yeah, I can tell you I robbed a lot of matches with this. So yeah, so Can's
Great.
absolute must, like, um yeah,
Yeah,
and
I've
then
been throwing them out way wrong. I've been kind of thinking about maybe like one of the things that and I would love to cover this next actually, is like engaging on distance. So it's like the neutral game, I think I'm okay. I mean, obviously, there's still things that happen, and this will help a lot. Like so far, what I've learned, but engaging from a distance, you're Oki, you're sort of like running towards. You saw my habit, which is really bad. Maybe I was just a little bit nervous because I don't do that normally too often, but sort of running in and like and throwing out the kick. I have experimented with can cans as like just a way that people when they're closing distance throw out a low, and so like sometimes I'll jump the low and do can cans, but I don't think it has done me too much good because it's easy to punish and you were like launching me from it and everything. So curious on like distance engagement. You've got somebody kind of far away. Do you just slowly inch your way up and start doing kind of your neutral game, or like how do you tend to approach people?
so one main way that June has is 4 for 3, 3+4. This is like a good way to approach the opponents because it has a lot of reach, right? So it has a lot of reach. Like it'll hit from like here or whatever. It has a lot of reach. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's it. She crouches a little bit like this. So if they do like a high to try and stop you, it'll probably like crush under with this.
Okay.
It is homing. So if they try to step at range, it will also cover that for you as well. And the follow up is now this is a bit knowledge checky because he can interrupt the follow up if they're ready for it. But I can tell you that like not a lot of people are ready for it. So if you do this, they can jab in between like this, or they can like
Um,
step the second hit and punish you. But that takes a lot of awareness, and not a lot of people do it. So I won't worry about it too much. So yeah,
okay.
forward 3 2 plus 4 is definitely a way you can use to approach them with June. And the good thing about this move is it's plus and block the second hit. It's so if they didn't deal with the string and they blocked it, you're plus 3. And a little like super knowledge check with this character, it worked so much for me on day one, for example, is this unblock and then standing for afterwards. Because they might not know that this is plus and block, right? So
Yeah.
so you can be cheeky and like frame trap them afterwards with this, you know?
Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, so they can be you can be a bit cheeky and frame trap them with this afterwards. And again,
Okay.
same situation. If you know they're respecting it because they're looking out for your frame traps, start your pressure down for one, then back three, sights at
Mm.
four, get a little bit funky in their face with the pressure, right? So
Right.
so
Yeah.
four
Okay.
four three is one of the ways you can approach just because it has so much reach for like a mid like this, right? And then you're plus in their face if they didn't try to interrupt the string or anything like that. Another move you can do is now this is like a personal favorite of mine, so I'm gonna be a bit biased with this. Is while standing one plus two. So while standing one plus two is a big mid counter launcher. So you get all this. So while standing one plus two. So it's a big counter launcher, right? So your opponent is going to be afraid to try and interrupt your approach with this because if they interrupt at a bad time, they're going to get launched, right? So
What?
yeah, so
I didn't even know that. Okay.
yeah, no, this is that like with both June and Asuka, this is going to be like a really really important move. And the good thing is you can cancel it. So if you hold down, you can cancel the move. So when they're afraid to like try and stop this, you can use this to approach the opponent, cancel in their face, and then you're in crouch, right? You're in their face like this or whatever. You can also do forward two cancels. So forward two as a move itself. If you hold down,
Hmm.
you can cancel the move. Personally, I prefer Wasang plus two because she goes much further. But you can also use forward two as well as an option. And I'll just talk about her crouching game pretty quickly because I feel like it's quite important with June. So, you're in crouch, you have access to like a bunch of new moves, right? So
Hmm.
with June, the main stuff you're gonna do is crouching down for two, so the low, right? So this is nice because on counter hit you get a big follow up, right? So
Ooh.
you land this on counter hit, you do while standing three afterwards. Like, you can just mash on the three, and then you get a launcher, right? So
Wow.
yeah, and then you're gonna mix up this low with while standing two as your main mid poke, right?
Hmm.
So this gonna be like your main mid poke, and this is gonna be your main low poke out of crouching. So like you're asking about approaching, so you can use this to approach the opponent, go for low. You can use this to approach the opponent. Maybe you go for mid. You have a launching grab out of this as well, with
Whoa.
yeah, with FC then back one plus two. So you can use this to catch them off guard as well. So this is a one plus two break.
Ridiculous.
So let's say like a common like Cosma setup is cancel this into Falling Rain. Asuka also has this Falling Rain. So that's just a name of the grab, like Falling Rain. So
Got it.
so cancel in their face and go for the grab is a pretty like common setup.
Wow.
And then you
That's
can
amazing.
yeah, and if they're now this is new in this game compared to like Tag 2, Tekken 7 or whatever. So
Hmm.
she has a so that's a 1 plus 2 break, right? The falling rain. You can see the arms, it's a 1 plus 2 break. Now
Yeah.
she has a 2 break, but in the older Tekken games you could only do it from standing, right? But new in
Hmm.
this game, you can actually do it from crouch now. So you can do this grab from crouch. So if you it's just from crouching, down forward, 2 plus 3. It's the same input. It's just that you can do it from crouch as well. So from crouching, down forward. So if there some people only look to break 1 plus 2 because of the launch from the grab, right? Like they're not
Right.
reacting to the arms, they're just pressing 1 plus 2 by default. So if you kind of catch on that they're doing that, you can just go for this from crouching as well. And this is nice.
Ah.
And this grab breaks the floors on floor break stages. So you can use this to break the floor and get your full combo, right?
Got
So
it.
so
Okay.
yeah, so that's kind of her crouching game in a nutshell. And just with while standing to. So on counter hit, it is a launcher. So if you see it do this, so that was a normal hit, right? This is normal hit.
Hmm.
This is counter hit. So they kind of fall to the ground a bit like this, right? So
Yeah.
so you can actually get a full combo of this. So
Wow.
yeah, so if you
Yeah.
do while standing two, down 1+2, you actually get a full conversion of this. So that's something like important to pick up on for sure. Uh
Yeah.
yeah, so just like make sure when you get your counter hits, like convert off them, because her counter hit
Right.
game is like very, very rewarding. So
Yeah. That's one of my weakest kind of, I think, like identifying, both the screen shake, meaning that it's a counter hit, and then in kind of the crumple situations where you can then launch. I think I often miss those opportunities and just leave damage on the table because I'm just not fully aware. But I'm gonna start looking out for that for sure.
yeah, like you can tell as well that a lot of times they have a different animation on counter hit. So like you can see maybe if there's no screen shake, there usually is a screen shake, but just in some situations there might not be. But you can tell like like she crumbles to the grounds like this. You can tell straight away. Oh, that's a counter hit launcher. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, you just have to be
Okay.
like just like a bit tuned into the game. Just like to react quick enough that you can react and pick up off it, right? So
Totally. In practice mode, I definitely think I could, in my training stack, just like, I do some movement, do some strings, some common kind of scenarios, and one I don't really do is like that counter hit. They have them do an action and then practice that visually. So I will definitely add that to my stack. Just to recap really quick. So while standing 1+2 also has the cancel the
ca-
same as forward two. It's the same cancel motion. Just hold down.
hold down, yeah,
Okay, got it.
hold down, yeah, and
Wow.
yeah. So
Sick.
it's a good way to like close the gap between yourself and the opponent. Because like I
Yeah.
said, they might be afraid to try and stop your approach because I said the whole move is a counter hit launcher, right? And it's also only -2 on block. So it's very low minus. It's safe, and you can still like do stuff afterwards as well. Like my common flowchart is doing this on block and then what's standing for afterwards. It's not like a frame trap or anything like that, but some people might press a slow button afterwards, so you'll get counter hit with your faster move, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so while standing two is it just in general it's a really good move, and the cancel just adds a whole nother like option to it as well. Um, yeah. So, do you have like another question? Maybe you want to go over?
Yeah. I'm just looking through my notes. I'm like, oh my god, this game is insane. I think
Ye-
I've played, I don't know, offline and online combined like 120 hours or something, which isn't in the grand scheme, for legacy players and all that. It's not that much,
Mm,
but it's so crazy how much room there is to like even just learn buttons. Like I didn't even know about the wall crouch, down back 1+2. Like that's insane. And then
yeah,
you can
yeah,
just combo off that. That's amazing. I'd be like definitely looking for that more. Um, yeah, I think this is like the perfect amount of time and the perfect amount of information to then go take in the lab and start to kind of play around and experiment and make sure I know and can repeat all the things that we did. But just to kind of recap a couple key things that I'll practice, like obviously jabbing is something I just don't do enough. I just kind of go right into the Azumo and get interrupted. And yeah, so I need to definitely jab more. I need to use the standing four in all those situations you talked about.
yeah,
The down forward one, and then the on counter hit, or when you hit the up forward one being on the high extension, like that's amazing. And I will definitely do that. I had no idea. In fact, I will tell you sometimes things happen naturally. I'm sure at your level, even sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't even know that you could do that. Like I've done that before, where I've done it, probably the extension and then up forward one, and I'm like, what did I even just do? So that's good to know that that's why that happened.
yeah.
I'll practice the back twos. Sorry, go ahead. You're gonna say something.
Yeah, I was just gonna go over like one more situation with you as well if you want. I feel like
Yeah, yeah.
it's pretty important as well. So you know like how heat engages work. So like she has a bunch like 1+2 is a heat engager, size F4 is a heat engager, 4 2 1+2 is a heat engager. So let's say you land one of them right in any situation. So you go into the heat, right? So
Right.
you're so plus here. You have like a lot of advantages. You're so plus here that they have to block the 4 4 1+2 afterwards. Like they don't have a choice. They have to block this. So this is good because, as you might know, everything in heat does extra chip damage, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so think about it. Like they're blocking this afterwards. They have to block this. So you can see all the chip damage that I did there, right? So
Yeah.
the mind game here is, do they keep blocking or do they try to do something, right? If they keep blocking, you can keep doing this. Because remember, this move is +6 on block. So if they try to mash,
Oh.
yeah, if they try to mash, you can do can-cans, right? Uh, if
Mm-hmm.
if they try to step or move away from this, you can do Damper 3, which is a really strong homie move. Like, you want to use this in general if you think they'll ever step, right? So Damper 3 is really strong for anti-stepping. Forward 4 is also really strong for anti-stepping. So, let's say they try to mash or they try to step away from this, you know your options. You can do can-cans on a mash. If they try to step away, you can do them for 3. Oh, sorry, you do this first and then down for 3, or you can do this and then forward 4. And the nice thing about forward 4 is you're still plus afterwards. So it's +3 on block. So you can be cheeky and do, your standing 4 afterwards as a little like frame trap knowledge checky kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so the mind game is just like, do I keep doing it or do I stop them from trying to interrupt me, And then
I see.
and each time they block this, they're losing chip damage like that. So they do want to stop it eventually, either by mashing or stepping away from it. And then you have your options for those as well. So yeah,
Gotcha.
I just feel like that whole like situation was just important to know with June because it does like you land a heat engager. Like most Rens, you're gonna land a heat engager, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a typical like a common heat engager situation you have with June is, for example, like forward 4. So maybe you might use forward 4 in neutral as a tracking move because it's a homing move, right? So it's going to stop stepping. Maybe you just want to apply plus frames because it's plus and block, right?
Yeah.
So on normal hits, you get 1+2 afterwards, right? Like guaranteed. So forward 4, it hits, you get 1+2. So this might be a common way for you to get heat. Side step 4 is probably another common way for you to get heat because you're going to use side step 4 a lot because it's like one of our best pressure tools, right? So
Yeah.
if you happen to land, if you happen to hit it, then you can do the same situation. So the heat dash in 4 4 1+2. What are they gonna do? Are they gonna mash? Okay, cans. Are they gonna try and step away from it? Okay, then for 3 or 4 4. 4 4 in heat is really nice because if you hit it in heat, instead of just getting 1+2, you actually get the heat smash. So you get all this.
Oh,
Yeah, so if they try to step after this, it's extremely risky because you can do this and then hit confirm it and then go into this.
wow.
And
Okay.
and
It's so
then
funny, dude. My heat extender engagers have always been like 1 2 sidestep forward grab. That's like
yeah,
that's all
y-
I do. Which frankly it works in the lower ranks because like people just don't know what to do. But wow, there are so many options like
well there you
that.
go. Like anything into heat dash essentially, it could be like 1 2 sides at 4 or whatever, Just as long as you know what to
Hmm.
do afterwards, just make them block this because you
Yeah.
know the whole idea with June is like some of her moves they do damage to herself, right? They're like
Right.
they're super strong, but they also deal damage to herself. It could be like this or whatever. So the 4 4 1+2 is also one of those moves. So like it does chip damage to herself.
Uh
Yeah, but when you're in heat, these same moves actually heal her, right? So
right.
not only are you chipping away at your opponent, but you're also healing yourself. So
Yeah.
so it's a very very like strong situation to be in, like a very like rewarding situation to be in.
Yeah. Seriously. So forward 1+2 to recap is +6.
Hmm.
And what's the startup frames
So it's plus
on that?
six. So it's +6. So if you think they will mash, you can go for can-cans because it's a real friend trap. If you think they will try and step around, just because it's really strong, but it is like linear, like it is pretty prone to being sidestepped. But you have
Yeah.
but you have very strong homing moves to deal with that, like such as Stanford 3 or Ford 4, you know. So
Right, right, right.
right,
Okay.
or
That makes sense. That makes sense.
yeah, and then if you think they're gonna respect you, you know, they're just frozen on the spot. They are respecting you. Then you know, Stanford 1, then back 3, throws. You know, like start the pressure game going.
Right. Have you had scenarios where you just keep someone just blocking and just chip them like
Oh yeah,
5 times, 6 times, stuff like that?
yeah, I think my record was like 7 before they actually did something, you know,
Yeah.
because you always have an answer to something they'll do, right? So the other guy must have known, like, okay, let me just block Leish, but then he saw his health bar was like half gone. It's like, nah, I should do something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, I definitely
Wow.
remember my record was 7 for sure before they started like trying to do something about it.
I saw you fight those. Saw you fight that crazy Kuma like a couple of days ago. Well, I
Hmm.
say crazy. Crazy to me. He had like that insane combo. I remember you were just like, "Oh, I'm dead." And I look at your health. You had like 60% left. It's so nuts what you can end up doing in this game.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
like Bear in particular have a I think they just straight up have like the highest damaging wall combo in the game. So, and then there's other characters like Leo, Lee. They also have extremely high wall damage output. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
like
Which
June is not too far off them. Like it's obviously lower, but it's not too far off.
hmm
I,
I
I
meant to ask about walls. I noticed you practicing forward 1+2. I think you like were able to squeeze two of those in on a wall spot. What's kind of like the
oh
for somebody who's like execution, like still learning execution, what would you say is kind of the go-to? Because dude, I see so many people in wall splat, I will miss. I'll try to do like cans too late and kick the wall, not even touch them. And so yeah, I could definitely use some help there.
so some wall combos, sure, yeah. So let's say you get wall splat because Dem for 3 is a really strong move to use in general, right? And it also wall splats. So let's say you get wall splat with this, you would do. Now this is like optimal, but it's a little bit tricky. So don't worry if you don't get it like right away. But I'll type in the chat as well. So it's Dem for 3, Dem 1+2, hop kick string, and then Miari 2 like this. So I'm gonna type that. So Dem for 3, walls blocked. Down 1+2, and then you get the tornado up 443, Miare 2. Now the trick with this is you delay the Miare to the beam. You delay it slightly so it comes out, right? Now
Yeah.
if you want an easier combo, you wall splat, hop kick, hold forward, again forward, 1+2. So that's
Ooh.
that's like an easy mode combo, but I would recommend learning the first one because the damage difference is quite big.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that's
Down
tornado.
forward
So oh
3, down 1+2.
yeah.
Yeah, tornado. Let's forward 4 3.
Now
Okay.
now if you like wall carry to the walls, you have to do something different. So let's say for example, let's go to a different stage. So if you used up a tornado in a combo and you have wall carried, so let's say for example, you know, like blah blah blah, you do something like this, right? So you
hmm
like so you carry to the wall. From here, you used up your tornado already, right? So you would do so that is back to one, hold back, Miara two. You can just mash this combo. It's just no time into it. Uh, if you used up tornado before wall. So like you know you wall carried or whatever. Maybe do something like this. You know, like your tornado is gone, right? Your tornado just gone,
hmm
and then you carry to the wall. Okay, my God, these awful examples. Yeah, like this for example. So 4 4 2 3 wall carry back 2 1 Miara 2. So
I see.
yeah, so you have like two different wall combos typically. You have one that used up the tornado already, or you have one that you haven't used up the tornado already. So maybe you could wall carry like maybe I think this is one example. So back 4 2, back 4 2, 4 4 2 3. So you can I didn't use up the tornado yet, right?
Right.
So
Interesting. So you can do the first combo. that does a lot of damage. If you do you have some like do you alter what your combo is if you're somewhat close? Like, because I noticed back 4-2 has some serious carry to it. Would
Mm-hmm.
you do that to like save the tornado to optimize it against the wall?
Yeah, because like ideally, in an ideal world, you do want to save your tornado, but that's not always going to be the case, right? You know, maybe the wall's too
Yeah.
far, so you have to use up your tornado to extend your carry, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're like kind of close to the wall and you know your routes enough that you know you can carry without using it. So, for example, with June, you could do something like this. So I didn't use up my tornado here, right?
Yeah.
So that is just
Gotcha.
so I'll type that combo as well. So this is a great one to go for if you haven't.
Okay.
So you would do now. Demo plus two is too slow to do the tornado at the walls from a carry in a lot of situations. So you want to do Damper 4 as a single hit tornado, like as a one hit tornado. Because if you do two hit tornado, so that could be like 4-3-4. You know, if you do this
Mm-hmm.
at the wall combo's not going to work, right? Because there's too many hits at the wall. There's a whole like wall rule going on here. But just to keep it simple, if you want to go for that big first combo there, you have to use a one hit tornado. So let's say we do this for example. So we're carrying to the wall. We're not using up tornado yet. So tempo four, and then you could. No, it's a little
Uh,
bit. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky off the tempo four, but yeah. So you can do this wall
I
combo,
see.
right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. Off a direct
That's
wall
good.
splat, it's much easier because like let's say we're going. So you can just like off this for example, you can just do demo plus two straight away, and it's it's straight.
Um,
Yeah,
I see.
like ideally from carrying, you do want to like save your tornado, but that's not always going to happen to you, and you do want to like adjust your combo according to your distance from the wall, but that kind of stuff comes with time. That kind of stuff comes with like stage awareness. You start to just kind of subconsciously know where the walls are, so you adjust
Mhm.
that you adjust your combo on the fly. But that's like like a long, long time, building blocks. So I wouldn't stress too much about it now. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
just a simple combo to go for would be like launcher, one hit, back 4-2, 4-3, like this string, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be like a typical like combo you can go for, and that's totally fine.
Okay.
Um, yeah, if you don't have any questions, we can kind of start to close up a bit. But if you have something to ask, feel free.
No, that covers all of it. I mean, if I look at my sections, yeah, crouching game, neutral, pokes, heat engagers, or like, closing distance, with wall rising, or crouching game was kind of closing distance, and then wall combos. I
Hmm.
have so much to practice, man. I really appreciate all the time and sharing all this with me.
Yeah, no,
Can't wait
absolutely no
to
problem.
put it
Thanks for
into motion.
Yeah, no, thanks for signing up as well. And like like I'll upload I can upload a video tonight. I have enough time. I'll send you the link. It's gonna be a listed, so it's totally just for you, right? It's not public or anything. So yeah, it's just something for you to watch back, and you can listen over the notes again or whatever.
Cool. Okay. And then for like repeat, like if I start to kind of master some of this and feel comfortable, do
Mm-hmm.
you um do you have like recurring kind of like stuff? Is that something like that might be useful to do later once I kind of like get some of these under my belt?
What as a second session? You mean like
Yeah, yeah, or
yeah? I mean, if you
yeah,
feel like you got enough. If you feel like you benefit from this and you want to go for a second one, I'm down. Like the website's there.
cool.
It could be something like you could show me replays. You could show me your matches, and we can go a bit more in depth. Because the good thing about this
Okay,
game is the replay takeover system. So you can send me some like you just send me your Tekken ID, and I can look up your replays, and I literally like control you in the replay, right? And I can show you like what you could have done better a little bit more. So maybe that's something that you fancy. We can do that.
okay,
Um,
yeah, I
or
think that'd be great.
Yeah, so like I would like if you plan on doing that, I would just advise do it in a few weeks. So like you try all this out, and then when you come back, you're like more experienced. More understanding of the options. You played around with a lot of this stuff, and then we can go a bit more in depth on other things.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. Well, I'll put this into training, and yeah, and I'll book another one in a couple weeks to kind of, and I'll share ahead of time. Obviously, we'll talk on Discord, I'm sure, but I'll just send you a couple
Yeah,
recordings that might, I got smothered, and get your advice. But hopefully none of that will be happening now that I got a lot more tools. It's actually pretty interesting how far you can go without knowing, some really critical tools like crouching and like some of the moves from crouching.
yeah,
It's like crazy how much I wasn't really using, but still was able to put the smack on a lot of people. It's wild. June is a really strong character.
yeah. It's just all about because some people can play for a long time without like really trying new things or like maybe being aware of some options. So they might be like kind of
Mhm.
stuck at a level. So it just needs someone else to be like, hey, you can do this more, and they were like, it's a whole new world for them. So yeah, that's kind of like what we're going for. You know what I mean? Like to help the new generation of players. Be like, hey, you can do this, and just open their eyes to a whole new thing. Like, but
For
yeah, I
sure.
I just have another session in about half an hour, so I'll close this up now if that's all right with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks again. I appreciate it. And you have a good next session and great rest of your week, man.
You too, man. Take care, and then I'll send you that link as soon as it's uploaded. Anyway.
Cool. Perfect. All right, dude.
All right,
Catch you
take care.
later.
See you, man. Take care.
See ya.